guys, welcome to roadtripstory.com. It's Joseph Kaler. Behind the camera here is James Romeo, and we are here today. Where is this place? It's gorgeous. This actually is Cumberland Island National Seashore, which is the preeminent national park of Georgia. I can't find anything better in Georgia, including the Appalachian Trail. Sorry, my hiking buddies, this is the best place. It's one of the biggest islands really on the East Coast in terms of just preservation, maritime forest, beaches, just wildlife, really one of the most awesome places on earth that you'll ever see. So just join us on this road trip story, and what we're going to do is just really check out Cumberland Island. Yeah, there's a little bit of rough seas here coming to Cumberland Island. This is the roughest seas I've ever been to. My fourth time here. I don't know if it's due to the wind or just the gods wanting me to be in an ocean spray commercial. I don't really know, but it's some pretty rough waters here, and I'm getting kind of soaked, so interesting start to the trip. Right here you can see a lot of campers, day users, people probably going to Stafford Camp, a little bit farther north, just bringing their supplies, so something to really kind of consider and look out for. I think on this trip so far we've got more luggage than people, so it's kind of something interesting of note. One of the key things on any adventure is preparation. Before we get to the island, got to prepare. One of the best things, at least for me, even almost above food, is this guy right here, SPF 50. Not my SPF 5000 I usually get, but just as good. All right, this is Cumberland Island, the actual Cumberland Island, and we're here at the ranger station and finally made it. Bicycles, yes, you can bike the island and really get you closer and faster to the action, especially on a day trip. Really recommend this, even 3, 4, 5 plus days. Definitely bike. And the really cool thing is, too, the National Park Service provides is a shuttle to the north end of the island. A lot of sites like Plum Orchard, you look at the settlement, the wharf ruins, essentially, that are just miles and miles up that you really can't achieve to visit there in a day. You can also get reservations for that to take the tour as well. So again, lots of modes of transportation here, as well as good old-fashioned feed. But I think this is what we're going to do today on our trip here, a little bike ride. Now, we are just doing a day trip today, but I wanted to stop here at Sea Camp, which is one of the main, probably the most popular campsite. Numerous campsites, by the way, on Cumberland Island, but this one is probably most popular. A couple of reasons. This is a quarter mile nearest from the ranger station, and Sea Camp really is just at one of the thinnest points of the island, very accessible to the beach, accessible to Dungeness, very popular. In fact, personal level, the very first time I went to Cumberland Island a couple of years ago, I actually ended up coming here. Again, several reasons, very family friendly. I'd recommend Sea Camp, but really any camp you can camp at. There's some things to worry about, well, to be concerned with, I guess you could say. Things like bring potable water, water treatment systems, and really, again, pack in, pack out with your campsite. But you can camp here. I camped here for 3 days, had a great time, and it's really just something that if you ever have a chance to get down here to Cumberland Island National Seashore, it's really a really cool activity to do. Just got off the bikes and here at Stafford, which is sort of the beginning of the middle of the island itself. Again, huge island, about the size of Manhattan roughly, one of the largest sea islands in Georgia. And behind me here is really, I think, what a lot of people think of Cumberland Island National Seashore, which is the wild horses. These are feral horses, so when you come to the island for a day trip, if you're here for 3 hours, 3 days, whatever, be very mindful of these animals. They're very wild. And the thing is, they're not just on the south end of the island. We're in the middle section of the island, so they're everywhere. When I hiked up towards Plum Orchard, which is still about probably 3 or 4 miles north of here even, that they're still in the woods. They're everywhere, so they're not just on the south end. You actually see a baby right there in the middle. And the last time I was here, my previous road trip story, you could say, I actually saw one of these little baby horses with its mother on the beach. So you can find horses actually, yes, on the beach. So it's really one of the most unforgettable sights you can see here. And these guys here, I think, are the symbol and really kind of a big reason a lot of people come out to Cumberland Island itself. One way of transportation on the island is this way right here, by airplane. Of course, if you're rich and have a lot of money, you can take off. This is actually the airport right in front of Stafford here. And as you can see with it taking off, coming in, this is really a primary way a lot of the kind of the private areas of the park, either private property owners that are on the island, which again, this is a national park, but actually it is administered and also kind of coincides with actually people that actually live here 365 days a year or even just seasonal. And that guy probably right there that lifted off was probably here at Stafford, at one of the buildings here, or even further at Grayfield Inn. So again, it's, yes, there is the wild horses, but there's also like this airport. Just saw a plane taking off. Is kind of a really interesting experience if you never been here for the first time. But actually it has a little bit of human habitation here, and hopefully we'll see in a couple of years, maybe some of that habitation is going to be going away, for the better, so people can enjoy, 100% of the park. But as for right now, though, there's actually a really nice interaction and it's actually not that bad of a coexistence going between the National Park Service, and a lot of it is the remaining owners of whatever land's left on the island, which is usually the Carnegie family, who actually owned this. Andrew Carnegie's brother actually had this land originally when he built the 4 mansions here on the island for him and his children. So we're going to look into that a little more deeper, but again, just one of the many modes of transportation you can see here on Cumberland Island. So now we've arrived at a really cool spot I want to show you guys. It's actually the boundary of the southern end of Cumberland Island Wilderness Area. Now, this is actually a federally designated wilderness. It's not just in the wild, it's the real deal. You've got plenty of campsites here, really good ones. Actually, one just right up the road here past Plum Orchard that's in the wilderness area here. Brick Hill Bluff, really recommend that if you're on the north end of the island ever camping. You can actually see, it's been spotted a lot of times, dolphins actually in the back bay. And the reason this is a wilderness is because this is one of the most important ecosystems, I think, really the heart and soul of Cumberland Island's the ecosystem, which is the Maritime Forest. And there's 3 distinct ecosystems on Cumberland Island. This is one of them, again, the kind of core, if you will. You've also got the beach, and you've also got the saltwater marshes, but really all 3 of them here really kind of intermix with each other. You can't have one without the other. And again, in the middle of all that is this, the Cumberland Island Wilderness. And again, they have scheduled hunts into the year, and just really a lot of activities that a lot of people don't really associate with Cumberland Island, not really so much day-use visitors. But if you're up here a long amount of time, and like I did on my very first trip here, I went during the winter months, be very careful up here too. So again, safety, keep that in mind. But if you really want to really truly get away, even beyond Stafford beaches, obviously the main one at Sea Camp, you really want to go to the wilderness up here in the north. I want to also talk to you guys a little more in depth about the ecosystem of the marsh. This is really the side of Cumberland Island. A lot of people don't really, they go into the island, they kind of just run across it, don't really pay any mind to it. But this is just as important as the beach side, just as important as the Maritime Forest. These type of marshes here are actually really nature's filters. They actually provide a lot of cleaning, just any type of pollutants, or really just really a type of very sensitive ecosystem as well. And it's really surprising a lot of people don't really consider this as one of the most complex ecosystems on Earth as well. So it's fragile but tough at the same time, and it's something that really shouldn't be taken lightly. And especially when you get off at the docks south where we embarked from, that you can really, I enjoy it on this side, the maritime stuff, because you can really see the ghost crabs, see all kinds of like egrets, just different types of birds. And to me, again, it's more activity on this side, especially for a wildlife lover. Seen a really lot of good wildlife shots on the net really through this side than really the beach side. And yeah, you can still get wild horses here. So again, it's really this type of ecosystem is underrated, but at the same rate though, it's something that really needs to be seen and appreciated if you ever have the time to come to the island. It's one of the many forms of wildlife you can see here. In this case, just a little butterfly. Saw a lot of these guys on the road coming up. So anything you can think of here that's a living creature, you'll most likely find it that's in this region at Cumberland Island. I'm standing in front of Plum Orchard, which is one of the 4 mansions that actually Thomas Carnegie, which is the brother of Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, actually bought and pretty much owned this island during the Victorian era. And unfortunately, this is one of the 3 that's left. Dungeness is actually in ruins now, burned into a house by a house fire in the late 50s. This one was built in 1898. It's a Georgian revival style. It was built for actually one of his sons, George, and his wife, Margaret. So This actual mansion really became a centerpiece of when the National Park Service really got this park in 1972, because the Carnegie family, the descendants, actually donated this. And so behind me here, they're actually giving out tours of Plum Orchard Mansion. So the two other mansions, you might wonder, there's one on the north end of the island that's private, and the other one we actually passed on the bikes getting here, which is Grayfield Mansion, which is still owned by the Carnegies. But this is the only one that you and me, as average citizens, can actually go tour, visit, enjoy it. And we're just going to do some exploring, just see what makes Plum Orchard really one of the most beautiful places on the island. The Carnegie family, the descendants, actually had the foresight of, preserving and protecting this place. You see the wilderness we just looked at a while ago, and you see these beautiful grounds here. It's a very good interaction. There was very little actually alteration to the land. Where the airport kind of strip we just saw, there was some alteration in that, obviously, where one of the Carnegies actually kind of cleared the land, actually took all the oaks out and put pines just in that little area. But really in this area here, again, if you're just here for a day trip, Plum Orchard is great. Totally recommend it. Really the kind of like crown jewel of Cumberland Island if you ever get to make it here. And it's so popular, and I'm seeing other people do it. I'm going to join them in the little thing of lunch, but I'm going to do it right there on that swing. So again, if you can, beautiful, beautiful place. We're about to leave Plum Orchard, and just want to give you guys really, again, kind of insight of really Cumberland Island, I think the almost crown jewel of the park, at least for the human impact, is Plum Orchard, the mansion that we're on here. Great for picnics, great for lunch. So we just ate our lunch here, and before we head off to the beach, just want to say again, if you ever be able to make it up here, you can tour this exterior and interior. They do provide separate tours here of inside, so be sure to check it out if you can, and see if you can make it a road trip story of your own. Our final ecosystem, the third one that we haven't seen today, is actually right behind me, which is the sand dunes or the beach. This one is really, again, the saltwater marshes is underrated like I spoke of earlier. This one is very fragile by itself, and luckily I think with the National Park Service, they've done a really good job of, through preservation, where I'm standing at now, a boardwalk, so someone like me, try to be green, try to be careful, with my environment and the impact on it. But even so, human, the footprint left behind can damage these dunes, and they really, really hold a lot of life here and actually really keep the land locked in at bay with these dunes the farther you go in, which in turn leads to the Maritime Forest. So again, an ecosystem that, again, shouldn't be overlooked, intertwines with the Maritime Forest, and on the back end of the island with also the wetland marshes. But really, at the beach itself, you have the beach, the seashore, National Seashore. And to me, this is where it really starts at. And what's really cool about this, the last time from a personal note, is I saw wild turkeys. Did not expect turkeys to be on the beach. Again, horses on the beach, just wildlife, and just as much life that you see teeming there in the forest or anywhere else on the island, you see here on the beach. So if you're, just even wanted to relax, sun, just have a good time, just think about when you're coming through here, just the kind of fragile ecosystem you can kind of encounter here. And even on the beach itself, you'll see this, and really a lot of good encounters, even through just a real simple day trip here. So we've seen a really abundance of adventure, just good times, fun, wildlife, everything you can really shake a stick at when you go outdoors that you like. And it's all can be found here at Cumberland Island National Seashore. What we ended up doing was going from Sea Camp today all the way up to Plum Orchard, the mansion, and back by bike about 16 miles. Day trip, really. In terms of this, you can find your own way. You can go, if you wanted to, just the south end for a day, or if you wanted to be a little more adventurous, go all the way further up to the settlement, even get to Long Point there, just Again, just a myriad, just almost infinite possibilities that Cumberland Island awaits you. And really with us, we're going to close it here and head on back. And really, any of you want to see any more of our adventures, really the places we go to, you can find us, Joseph and James, at roadtripstory.com. Devil's Tower National Monument has a really important place, especially in the National Park Service, because it is actually the first national monument designated, 1906.